Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. It's Deanna Nichols, and I want to talk to you about one of my very favorite things, which is coffee. And if you know me, you know that that's true. I like to have a nice big cup of coffee in the morning, and it's not just about the coffee for me. Honestly, I could do tea, and it wouldn't make one bit of difference. I'm not really in it for the caffeine. Um, I am in it for all the things. It's like a medium for putting all the things. Okay, so I like hot drinks to break my fast. So I do what works best for my body. I fast from a certain time in the evening through late morning, and I break my fast with a cup of coffee. And it's not just coffee, there's lots of other ingredients in there, and I want to tell you about that. So if you know what's been going on with me, last February 1st, I decided to jump into keto. And I think there's a lot of misinformation about what keto is. It's actually a very healthy way to eat as long as you're actually choosing whole foods and you are monitoring how much fats, proteins, and carbohydrates you're including in your diet. And that's very important. Keto is not just about, I think some people picture it in their mind, it's just like eating big handfuls of bacon and cheese. There is bacon and there is cheese involved, but that's not the main purpose. And so from February to I think May, I lost 50 pounds. And then in June, I just started having all of these major life things. And so I just decided to go into maintenance. And I have not even gained an ounce for the rest of the 6 months of the year. So I'm holding steady, but I'm ready to jump in and lose the other 50 pounds. That was my goal. So I am trying to get back on track. And one of the things I wanted to show you is how I like to break my fast every day, because this is the one steady thing that I've been able to cling to. I have an exact recipe. It's very, very delicious. You're going to love it. And again, if you don't like coffee, it's okay. You can do the same thing with tea, especially if you have a chai tea. This is a very good recipe that works interchangeably with chai. So what I have done is I have brewed my coffee. I don't have the label for you to see, but I use a organic and fair trade coffee, and I use a medium or dark roast. And that's very important. We can talk about that in great detail another time, but it's very important that child labor and human trafficking is not involved in your coffee. So please use fair trade coffee. It's not really very much more expensive at all. It's easy to find. Almost everybody sells it now. And so, and then organic, of course, is important. You don't want pesticides and things in your coffee. Okay. So I've brewed the coffee, and I like to use a French press because I don't use plastic with my coffee. Those plastic coffee makers and those pods are full of hormone disruptors. We don't need to put a hot steaming liquid into a plastic coffee maker. So there's lots and lots of health issues. So I'm going to go ahead and get my coffee, which is done. I brew it for about 4 minutes. It's, that's how long I intend to brew it. It's probably longer. Okay. Then I have this amazing cup. You don't have to have this cup for this to be effective, but my friend Angela made me this really awesome cup to keep my coffee hot. I like for my coffee to pretty much burn my face off. That is, every once in a while when we're traveling, my husband will get me a coffee at Starbucks. And he has to request it at a certain temperature because I'm like, if it doesn't like burn the flesh from your face, then it is not really coffee. It's not worth even drinking it. Okay, so this is going to keep my coffee nice and hot. Before we do the coffee, what we're going to do is we're going to put some Kerrygold butter in here. Okay, why Kerrygold butter? Well, I just like Kerrygold butter because it's pasture-raised butter, grass-fed cows, and that's going to affect the health content, nutrition content of the butter. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of butter in my cup. And if you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of butter, stop reading the nutrition propaganda, because real butter, especially from pasture-raised cows, is actually a health food. It's very good for you. Of course, that was my son's hand, and he knows better than that, don't you? Okay? So you just make sure that the source of your butter is healthy, and you're going to be fine. Of course, I wouldn't sit down and eat butter out of the container with a spoon. All things are going to be counted and moderated, but don't be afraid of butter, okay? That's propaganda. Now, the second thing I add is my cream. And this is the cream that I currently prefer. Notice here, it is unsweetened. There's no sweeteners in here. This is not easy to find. but this is the one that I've been able to find, and I can get this at my local grocery store. Before, I was having to order some online, and that was really stressful. This is an almond milk creamer. There's only 10 calories per serving, and it also has some coconut cream in here as well, but no sweetener. So they do make some flavored ones, but you be careful because those are sweetened, and we don't need sugar. We're avoiding sugar. I have not had sugar since February 1st of 2019, okay? I just don't need it. And believe me, I like sweet things. So I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of creamer. And normally I would measure it, but now I know what it looks like to eyeball it. So I've got 3 tablespoons of creamer in here. And I have brewed 20 ounces of coffee. And if you're like, that's a lot of coffee, then cut the recipe in half. And we can't be friends because I don't think that's a lot of coffee. You can definitely cut this down, and cut it down. Or you can do less coffee and still put all the other things in it. The other thing I'm going to add is my sweetener. And this is the sweetener I use. I use Sweet Leaf brand. It's the one that actually tastes good. And I trust it. It's non-GMO. And I don't use any flavored sweet stevia. This is a liquid stevia. There's no calories. It doesn't affect your blood sugar. And I try to use 2 entire droppers full in here. Okay. This is to taste. So I don't think I got a full one there. So if you want less or more, go for it. But that's what I prefer. Okay. Then what I've done is I cheated a little bit, and I'll be honest, I put my cardamom oil in the coffee grounds while they were brewing. I went ahead and stuck it in the French press. Now, you're not technically supposed to heat up essential oils because you could lose some of the therapeutic benefits. I'll be honest, I am more in this for the taste. So, and it's just one less step I have to do. So I like to brew it with my coffee, but you could go ahead and add it in here now. This would be a good time to add it. So I've done 3 drops of cardamom. It is a wonderful flavor in coffee, and it's got digestive and respiratory benefits. So it's good for this time of the year when everybody's struggling with those 2 things. Okay.
And this is the mixer thing where you mix mix to your coffee when you're done.
Yes, and we're going to use that in just a minute. Good eye, buddy. Okay, and then I'm going to add some protein to my coffee. So I've got some collagen peptides. This is not only a protein source. I like this brand. But this is also a source of nutrition. It's going to help with my gut health, my bone health. You want to dump it in? There you go. And it helps to have a really good helper with your coffee. Here's my theory is the more people in your family that you can train to make your coffee, the easier your life will be. Because then they can make you coffee while you're still in bed and bring it to you as a special treat. But they have to learn the recipe. They were trying for a while there to wing it, and it just wasn't the same. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you another secret ingredient, and I will try to post the recipe for this because this is not my recipe, but it's a secret ingredient. I have caramel sauce that I'm going to put in my coffee. This is a keto, low-carb caramel sauce. You can get it from one of my favorite keto blogs, which is called All Day I Dream About Food. It's just the low-carb caramel sauce, and I use this to make Twix thumbprint cookies, and I realized that it was good in my coffee. So I keep it in this little condiment squeeze bottle, and I just squeeze a little in there for some flavor. Okay? There's no sugar. It's good for you. Just a little extra flavor. And then, of course, the most important ingredient is the coffee. So we're going to go ahead and pour all the coffee in. And then X-Man is correct. We are going to mix it. So maybe we'll let him do that. Hold on, buddy. Very hot. Okay, so we're filling up the coffee cup. Okay? And the reason I like to add all those ingredients to it first is because then the butter and everything will melt and it's easier to mix it in. Okay, so wait, hold on. So don't turn it on yet. Don't ever turn your frother on until, this is called a frother. You can get it for like $8 on Amazon. Put it in first and then turn it on. Okay, your goal here is to mix up all the ingredients, but it's also to create yourself a little bit of froth on the top. So here's how you create the froth is you lift it up. Don't lift it out of the water or you'll get squirted with hot coffee, but you want to lift it up enough to where you're getting some foam on top. Okay? That's good, bud. Okay? And then, of course, go wash it off for me. Good job. And then, of course, you want to put your lid on to keep all that hot goodness in there. And what I do is I just sip slowly on that over the next hour or so while I'm doing my morning devotions and whatever else I do in the morning. And that keeps me from eating a bunch of stuff in the morning. But that's got some calories. It's got a little bit of calories. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. It's got about, I think, 10 grams of protein. It's definitely got the fats. It's a perfect breaking your fast drink, okay? And then I really don't eat a meal until later in the afternoon. It keeps me very satisfied. And so it's easy to monitor my macros, which is my proteins, fats, and carbs the rest of the day, because that is like a steady and constant that I do to break my fast every late morning. So anyway, I'm going to post this recipe and some other winter wellness recipes in my new ebook that I will be making available for free download very soon. So stay tuned for more information about this and lots of other recipes to help you stay well this winter. Thanks for watching. Shine on.